Hello and welcome back to Bookmark Chronicles. Today I'm doing the romance book tag. So I keep saying I'm going to do more tags and then I forget, but I remembered this time. So we're going to get into it. This one, there was a tweet associated with it, not a YouTube video. So I will have that linked in the description for you. There are 25 questions and we're going to go through them. Question 1 is the first romance you remember reading. I mean, I definitely read a book by Zane when I was 12, but I don't remember what it was or what it was about or like what happened. So we're gonna do this in terms of like as an adult, me figuring out my reading taste, especially my taste as a romance reader. And with that being said, I'm gonna go with Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert. That was one of the first books that I really read when I was doing like a deep dive into romance and trying to figure out what I liked, and I really ended up enjoying that series. Question 2 is the last romance you read. For me, that was Can't Catch Me by Alexandra Warren. I really enjoyed it. It's a football romance and it's the first thing that I've ever read by her. Definitely need to read more by her because it was great. I gave it 5 stars, 4.75 stars maybe. It was really good though. Question 3 is the romance that you are most likely to recommend to a newbie. I think for newbies, it's always easiest to start with contemporary romance. So I'll usually go with something by Christina C. Jones, like the first book in the Wright Brothers series, Getting Schooled. It's short, it's quick, it's cute. CCJ has so many things, but also like if you're gonna start with her, that's a good one to start with. Question 4 is a romance that you would most likely recommend to another romance reader. Probably Sinful Vow. Y'all know how I feel about the Mafia Misfit series. I love it, it's one of my favorites. And I feel like if you're already an established romance reader, you have no problem diving into a mafia romance. 5, an underrated romance that you wish more people would read. I'm gonna go with The Accidental Queen by L.R. Jackson. This was released a few years ago and I discovered this author through TikTok, but I really enjoyed this book. It is getting a sequel in 2025 and I'm really looking forward to it. I'm not sure how many people are familiar with L.R. Jackson. If I hadn't found her TikTok, I wouldn't have known about her, so I definitely want more people to read it. An overrated romance you wish people would stop talking about. Ooh, that's a good one. Honestly, at this point, anything by Katie Robert. Not a fan. I read her Wicked Villain series and it started off okay, but then I feel like the further into the series we got, the more it declined. And I know the Dark Olympus series is really popular right now, and frankly, I'm not into it. Same with Jennifer L. Armentrout. Why she was in the same Goodreads category 3 times is ridiculous. I also just think that a lot of traditionally published romances are so formulaic and are unnecessarily long, have unnecessary tropes in them, and independently published is where it's at. An auto by author. I don't necessarily buy a lot of romances. I read a lot of them digitally. However, Christina C. Jones, I feel like no matter what she puts out, I'm gonna read it. I'm currently working through her backlist, and honestly, she has me contemplating her vampire romances, and I don't like vampires. I do not care about vampires, but if anybody could make me care, it's probably her. An author you used to love and you've since abandoned. This is gonna sound contradictory to my first response, but Talia Hibbert. I love the Brown Sister series. However, anything that I've tried to read outside of that, I've DNF'd. I tried The Princess Trap and The Roommate Risk, and I hated them both. Favorite trope. Lately, I'm really getting into fake dating. I'm really enjoying it. Fake dating and forced proximity, which typically go hand in hand, and I'm having such a fun time with it. Best book with your favorite trope. The Kiss Countdown by Etta Easton. I love that book. I have a review of it. It came out earlier this year. If you haven't read it, you definitely should. It's not just fake dating, it's also forced proximity and only one bed. What more do you need to know? A book you didn't like even though it has your favorite trope. I'm gonna go with The Dating Playbook by Farrah Rashan. It's not a bad book. It's not a bad book at all. However, the male main character gets on my fucking nerves because he is a child. This one is also a football romance as well as sort of a workplace romance because he's training to get back into the NFL after an injury and she is his trainer. So if you like that vibe, recommend. I still love that series, the Boyfriend Project series, and this one is book 2. Most hated trope. Friends to lovers. I'm starting to realize in which instances it works for me, and I do have a discussion video about it. For the most part though, I kind of hate it. I think I also hate it more in like fantasies that have a romance subplot, and not necessarily in just like contemporary romance, but that's neither here nor there. I still kind of hate it. A book you liked even though it has the trope you hate. What did I like that was friends to lovers? Can't Catch Me actually was friends to lovers, but there was a lull in the friendship, and I think that is when it's okay for me. Your problematic favorite. I don't know what that means. I don't really do problematic over here, because like if you're talking about a problematic author, that's a hell no. If you're talking about like a problematic thing, like a trope or something that you like in a book that you don't like in real life, I guess for that, like jealous and possessive, like in real life I'd probably be like, calm the fuck down, get your shit together. But in a romance book, I eat it up. Next question is a book that everyone else loved that has you scratching your head. Ice Planet Barbarians. I don't get it at all. And honestly, there's better alien romances out there, so I don't understand why everyone loves that so much. Favorite Romancelandia person to follow on Twitter. We're not gonna do Twitter, we're gonna do BookTube, of course, and my favorite romance booktubers are, no one's surprised, Nicole from Who Picked This Book, Heather from Hia Booktubes, obviously, Robin from Paperbacks and Planners, and I feel that it's only right that I also mention Izzy from Happy For Now, because she literally does a Romancelandia monthly update, which is talking about like the problematic things happening in Romancelandia, but I literally wouldn't know half of it if I didn't watch her videos. A place you go for recommendations or reviews. Heather. It's always Heather. I don't particularly trust Book Talk. However, if a Black romance author ends up on my FYP, I typically end up reading their books. That has happened 4 times now. So sometimes Book Talk is also a good resource. A book that has a character that reminds you of yourself. I am not a self-insert person. I know that that's like a really big thing. Like people like to see themselves in their characters. And I don't really do that. I feel like in romances a lot, female main characters tend to want certain things like children. I cannot relate. I do not want children. Or they think certain things about themselves because like, you know, other people have put them in their head. And when that happens, it irritates the hell out of me. Like when someone is like, oh, I'm not deserving of love because my ex said no one will ever love me. Like, can't relate. Also, people are stupid. So I don't really have an answer for this one. If you do know of a romance with a 5-foot heroine who talks a lot of shit, let me know. A romance cover you love. Also The Accidental Queen, but since I already used that, I'm gonna go with Only for the Week by Natasha Bishop. I love this cover specifically. I know I got a cartoon special edition, but I like this one better. Next is a book you've reread more than twice. I don't think I have reread any romance more than twice, but last year I read both Air of Flames by Asia Monet and Sinful Enforcer by Asia Monique twice, and I will probably read them both again. Best romance audiobook. Anything with Leslie Siobhan. I love her voice. She's so good. Best romance or rom-com movie. 2 of my favorite movies of all time are Pride and Prejudice 2005 with Keira Knightley. Obviously. Tell me this isn't a comfort movie for like all of us, right? But also The Adjustment Bureau with Matt Damon and Emily Blunt. I have issues with Matt Damon as a person, but this movie, I love it so much. It's so good. If you haven't ever watched it, please do. It's so good. Favorite heroine? Off the top of my head, I'm thinking Janelle from Only for the Week, but I already talked about that, so I'm gonna go with Lucky from Stroke of Luck. This came out at the end of July. It's on KU. She is a college student who had to take some time off due to an injury and losing her scholarship, so she's putting herself through school by working at a club, and it's a billionaire romance, and I really liked it. Favorite hero? So from this year, I'm gonna go with Diego Acosta from Mickey Chambers Shakes It Up. He is a grumpy silver fox, and I think I like grumps. That tracks. Ooh, your favorite romance of all time. I'm obviously not gonna pick just one. And Sinful Enforcer was my favorite book of 2023. However, since I already used that for another answer, I'm going to go with Pulling Doubles by Christina C. Jones. It's only right, she's the queen of romance. And this is book 2 in the Wright Brothers series. It is a workplace romance that takes place at a hospital with a doctor and a nurse, and it's really cute. Let me know if you have read any of the books that I mentioned, if they're on your TBR, what some of your favorite romances are. Otherwise, that's all I have for you today, and I'll see you in the next video.